Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Yang, your online YouTube migration consultant here. Now today in this video, I would like to introduce to you child visa. It's a visa simply by saying it's for your children. Now it's a rare use visa category. By means is generally a person or a family wanting to migrate. They would have included their members of family in there already. That includes all the children's or dependent children's. So what instance would you actually utilize in using a child visa? Basically what I've seen throughout our experiences and the cases out there, it's generally caused by the employment reason, and predominantly more towards family reasons. So if the family has been involved in divorce, remarriage, stepchildren, and step parents and things like that, generally a child visa will be invoked in order to bring the dependent child or children into the country. So let's have a look what's inside of the child visa within the Australian visa scope. So we can see that there is under a subclass 101, and there's also another one under subclass 802. So what are the differences between the two? Now it's pretty easy. 101 is for a child who's offshore, and 802 is for child's onshore in Australia. So it depends on your situation. You may hold a permanent resident visa, and while you're being employed offshore somewhere in the world, or you are currently in Australia. So it depends on where you are, so where your families are, and you utilize different kind of visa. Now people ask why there are two different ones, because if we go back to the olden days, as you know, the regulations in the migration law was enacted back in 1958 and also 1994. So back then the law did not foresee how the changes of digital world can actually bring into this nations. So back then every single application was filled by paper and by pen, signed and post. So depends on where you post it. That's why there is an offshore application or there is an onshore application. But nowadays we're utilizing the email account. So if once you log into email account, the portal will actually include 101 and 802 together. Now in the processing wise, I don't see there's any differences here, because first of all, the cost is the same. So if we go to applicant, it's $2,665, and we go to offshore one, it's the same. Now the processing time, I don't know why they're a bit of different. I think it's just because the matter of the evidence of proof, for instance, proof of birth certificates, to get it done or translated, it might be different. So offshore it takes about 12 to 16 months, and onshore it takes about 13 to 14 months. So that's the timings are different. Okay, now if we go to sponsor, how do you become an eligible sponsor? It's pretty easy. Now you need to show that you're actual the lawful parent of the child. So and you are above 18 of age, and you're either Australian citizen, eligible New Zealand citizen, or an Australian permanent residence. Now eligible New Zealand citizen are the New Zealanders who have arrived in Australia before 2001. I believe I can't remember the exact date, but the month was February. So if you have arrived before that date, you are deemed to be eligible New Zealand citizen. By means you actually enjoy all the rights as the Australian citizen. You don't have to change and get an Australian passport to enjoy all that rights. You don't have to become Australian citizen. So back then the New Zealander and Australians are deemed to be the same. So but the things are changed and moved on. So okay, obviously you need to be the parents or the parent of the current partner. So that's that's the general rule of thumb to become a sponsor. So you may not even lodge a partner visa, but your partner is an Australian citizen or Australian permanent resident. They can sponsor the child to get the visa first. You don't need to wait for the partner visa if you lodge partner. As you know, partner visa may take time, but it generally making a decision whether to lodge the child visa first or partner visa together. It generally depends on the family and your employment at the time of lodgement. So obviously you need to chat with your professional consultant in regards to this. Now, as far as for the applicant, it's not that hard compared to all the other visa categories. So obviously you need to be dependent on your parents who are Australian citizen, eligible New Zealand citizen, or Australian permanent visa holder. That's a no-brainer. Now have a sponsor that basically spells that out, and the age now has to be 18 of age below, or if you are over 18 and between 18 and 25, you need to show that you are studying full-time. Okay, so you can't be someone who the child cannot be 20 years old and already being out there doing a full-time job. Then that would deem not to be eligible under this category of visa. Now and so that explains it here. Now if you are a disabled, the child is a disabled, that means have a definition here. It says must have totally or partially lost their bodily or mental functions, meaning that you need to have, you are dependent on a care of your family and you can't work full-time, financially dependent on the parents, then obviously you will meet that mark as well. So if you're if the child is disabled and they are, for instance, 30 years old, they can still lodge this visa. Now they cannot have a partner. They cannot have a partner. They can't be married. They can't be in a de facto relationship. Okay, so if they do, then that would, you know, negate it out the whole eligibility. Now the rest of it will be health and character checks and the debts to the Australian government, and obviously sign the Australian value statement. So in this video, it's a fairly quick explanation. So I thought we never talked about this family stream of a child visa, so I'd like to take this opportunity to explain it in this video. If you do have further question, help yourself and leave a comment below. We'll explain or respond or reply back in timely manner. And finally, consider to subscribe to my channel so that once we have more Australian insights and news about the visa and migration pathway, you'll be the first one to get it. Thank you for watching. I see you in the next video. Goodbye.